ESPN.
All righty, now let's move into some men's college basketball. Anything we should recap from the previous week, couple days in men's college basketball circles, Lawrence?
No, not anything I want to get really into. What the nitty gritty, what we got to get into are some of these conference tournaments and how we can make some money on some outcomes of some teams, who to bet on to win their conference tournaments, who are some sleepers, who's overachieving, who's going to give it up when they shouldn't, and we'll get into some of the first ones. And one of the first ones I like, it's right there, the Atlantic Sun. Oh, I go give me with that Ohio Valley. No, I go Atlantic Sun. Okay, Atlantic Sun.
Wait, which one do you want? Which one do you want?
Give me that Ohio Valley. We're gonna start from the top. Ohio Valley. Now, for the Ohio Valley, one of the hottest teams right now in this conference is Little Rock. I think Little Rock is going to be one of those teams that might scare a team going into the tournament. But at the end of the day, I think Morehead State wins this conference. I think Little Rock is going to be it's going to be Little Rock and Morehead State in the final. There might not be value there for Morehead State. There might be value for Little Rock. Pick one of the two.
Okay, fair enough. Who we got next?
All right, what's the next conference? Come on, hit me with it. Big South. All right, Big South. I'll pull it up on my little handy-dandy note sheet over here, too. Let's see, Big South. Right below the Big Sky. You got High Point, UNC Asheville, Gardner-Webb, Winthrop, and Longwood. The rest of them have no chance at all. Now, if you want me to look at this, who's got the hottest streak coming in here? It's Gardner-Webb. Gardner-Webb's on a 3-game win streak. However, their overall, it does not impress me at all. However, High Point has been the best team in this conference all season, and because of that, I'm going UNC Asheville to take it home.
Fair enough.
UNC Asheville has the more championship-ready team for the NCAA tournament. They were in there last year. They won the Big South last year. I think they can do it again. I think the only sleeper team that people need to be looking out for might be Longwood, just because of their defense that they can play. It's just the offensive side of the ball that is a little bit depressing. Is the best way to put it for them.
Fair enough. Who we got next? Let's see here. We got the Missouri Valley Conference.
Ooh, Missouri Valley. All right. So we're ready for the Missouri Valley. And in the Missouri Valley Conference, where are we at here? Come on find Missouri Valley Conference. Missouri Valley Conference, you got Indiana State, Drake, Bradley, and Belmont. University of Northern Iowa, and Southern Illinois. You got a lot of top teams at the very top, and you got a lot of bad teams at the very bottom. You want me to be honest with you? The two best teams to bet on coming into here are the two top teams coming into here. You got Indiana State and Drake. If you want a more tested team, you go Drake. Last year, they almost made the upset against Miami. If you want the hottest team to come in, you're going to either take Belmont or you're going to take University of Northern Iowa. If you want where the value is, you go Belmont. They were on a 3-game win streak. But to really solidify, do you want to make that money and put it in a parlay? I'd go Drake. I think Drake makes it back to the NCAA tournament again this year. I think the only team that can really knock them off is Indiana State.
Fair enough. On to the next one. Let's see who we got. The A-Sun.
Atlantic Sun, like we were going to talk about before. Now, the Atlantic Sun has a lot of good things about it. It has a lot of boring things about it. It's one of those where I know people are going to be like, well, Eastern Kentucky is the number 1 seed. They're going to win this whole thing. Well, Eastern Kentucky's win-loss is 12-4 in the conference, and they're on a 3-game losing streak in the conference. Overall, they're 17-14. They're nothing to be that impressed about. Lipscomb has been there, done that. They've made runs to make tournaments before. Stenson is right there fighting with them all. And then you got Austin, PA. I don't know how you want to say it. Austin Pay. At the end of the day, give me Stenson to win this whole thing. I think they are good for it. I think they have good matchups. They get to face Queens College. Coming out of that, I think they're gonna get a matchup similar to Lipscomb, something like that. So give me Stinson to win this whole thing.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, let's see who we got next. Sunbelt.
Ooh, the Sun Belt. More like, I think it's called the Fun Belt, because this is going to be a fun tournament, in my opinion. It comes down to 3 teams: Appalachian State, James Madison, and Troy. James Madison, you may remember as the team who knocked off Michigan State in the first week when Michigan State was overranked at like 4. James Madison's also on a 10-game win streak. It's hard to argue with a 10-game win streak, but if you can argue with it, you say Appalachian State is 16-2, 7-game win streak, and James Madison's 2 of their 3 losses are to Appalachian State. That's a really unfortunate news for them. Do I think James Madison will lose again? No. I think James Madison takes this conference. And my only thought process and reasoning behind it is, you match up well against Troy. Troy's the only other competition besides Appalachian State for this nod, in my opinion. You can make the notice that Texas State might be a little bit of a powerhouse because Texas State has upset Appalachian State and Troy. But at the end of the day, I think that's going to come down to James Madison, and it's going to come down to Appalachian State. And do you want me to be honest with you? If you let a team beat you 3 times in one season, well, you don't belong. So that's why I'm gonna have to hope they figure it out. By the 3rd time, you got to figure it out. You can't let some team do that to you 3 times.
You heard the man. You got to get the job done. 3rd time's a charm.
If you're going to end the season 28-4, you cannot have 3 losses to the same team.
We'll get the Southern Conference up next.
The Southern Conference. Now, I think this is one of those poopy conferences, if I'm not mistaken. Who's in the Southern Conference?
VMI, Citadel, Mercer, Samford, Western Carolina. Who else?
Yeah,
University of North Carolina, Greenville.
I know you may or may not have seen the motions I was giving you. It's a poopy conference. But I did tell you guys at one point in time, the team that I thought was going to be a headache and a force to be reckoned with coming to the NCAA tournament, kind of a little ways back, was Western Carolina. They fell off the middle part of the season. But between the 2 teams, you got Samford, UNC Greensboro, Chattanooga, and Western Carolina. Maybe you can throw Wofford and Foreman in there. But in my honest opinion, I'm going to go back to my old stomping ground. I'm going to go Western Carolina coming out of here with the 4 seed. They got a good road to get to the final. I think Western Carolina has the offense to do it. They're on the best win streak in the conference currently. And I think they're just getting that wheels going right here, right now, when it matters most.
All right. On to the next. Who do we got? Let's see. We just did Southern, so now we're in the Horizon League.
Horizon, huh? Give me Oakland out of this conference. I'm not even going to think about it. I know there's some good teams that can possibly come out of here, but I like Oakland. All year I've said I like Oakland. All year I've bet on Oakland. All year Oakland has never let me down. Only a few times. You got some teams at the top that unfortunately are probably not going to be able to make a run because, well, unfortunately, like Green Bay, yeah, they had a good season and all, but they lost a lot of key players right at the end of the season when it matters the most. Honestly, you give me Milwaukee to upset Green Bay in the first round, I wouldn't even be surprised. Because no offense, I don't think Milwaukee's going to get beat by Detroit Mercy. Given the fact that they're 1-31, so I don't foresee Detroit Mercy losing or winning. So I think the only competition Oakland has in this conference is Youngstown State. Yeah, Youngstown State is a good team, but I'm going to go Oakland because Oakland has actually faced a harder test, and they win the close games when it matters. They win overtime games.
Fair enough. Northeast Conference.
Northeast Conference. Now, for the Northeast Conference, There's just a few things
nice
about
little
it.
graphic.
Oh man, there's so much there going on. There's two teams that come out of this, and it's not a fun to talk about. This conference isn't very good. It's just not. They've beaten each other up all year, but it's going to come down to Central Connecticut State and Merrimack. Basically, how I would tell you to pick it, whichever one you like the logo better, whichever one you think sounds cooler, that's the one you pick. Because there's not much difference between the two teams. The biggest difference between all the teams, I guess, is Central Connecticut State is on a 4-game win streak coming into this. But if I'm not mistaken, I was watching a little bit of the game before we came on. And Central Connecticut State was having a rough time in the first round matchup against St. Francis. And St. Francis was 8-21 overall on a 5-game losing streak on a win-loss of 3-13 in the conference. So the fact that Central Connecticut State is struggling to start off doesn't bode well. Does not bode well. So maybe I give a little bit of a nod to Merrimack because of that.
All right. Next up, we got the CAA playing in DC, Cap One Arena. I think that next week? Well, starting this weekend.
Yeah, starting this weekend. You know,
they don't even have the teams listed, so yeah.
Well, I got over here. College of Charleston, they're 24-7 overall, 15-3 in the conference. They're on a 9-game win streak. Then you got Drexel. I'm not sold on Drexel. Drexel is constantly underperformed in certain matchups they shouldn't. If you want some sleeper, maybe golden runs, and there's gonna be a lot of money. There's gonna be a lot of money line for the College of Charleston, so you might not get any value out of that, even though they're probably gonna be the ones to win. I think UNC at Williamsburg, was it? What is it? William? I can't think of the name. High news. UNCW. They're the team to beat, in my opinion. There's always something about this team when this tournament comes on, when the NCAA tournament is on the line. They make a lot of noise. Last year, I believe it was College of Charleston versus UNCW. I think it's going to be a similar matchup. Just comes down who's going to win that matchup. And honestly, it can go either way at that point.
Fair enough. West Coast Conference up next.
Because of the severity of this, what this conference could mean to certain teams, I think that St. Mary's always has this. I don't want to say it's like a little brother syndrome to Gonzaga, but I'm going to take Gonzaga to win this tournament, mainly because Gonzaga. Where they are in the tournament currently would be like an 8 seed. Gonzaga doesn't want to enter the tournament as an 8 seed. If they win this conference tournament, they'll go in a much higher seed, and that's what Gonzaga wants. They don't want to be too low. They want a gimme game to start the tournament off. So I got Gonzaga to win this one.
Okay. Next up, who do we got?
I think it's the Southland.
Summit League.
Summit League.
Summit. Yep.
Summit League. To be honest with you, I don't know much about this Summit League. I can quite honestly say I haven't watched any of these games. Looking at it on paper, looking at who I've bet on in the past, just because their money line just seemed a little weird for the competition they played early in the season. Honestly, if the Kansas City Roos, it's the Roos, went on a little run, I wouldn't be shocked.
Fair enough. I don't know anything about their conference either, so we're gonna.
They're the third seed. They've won 6 in a row. They're hot. They know how to. They played big games, so they should be able to handle smaller games.
Southland.
You're gonna hit me with the Southland, and I'm gonna tell you right now, there is only one winner out of this conference. And the most unfortunate thing is the team is 27-3, 16-1 in conference. They've won 8 in a row, and even if they make the tournament, they're going to come in at max a 15 seed. McNeese State is going to win. They started the season off hot, beating Virginia Commonwealth by like 13 to start the season.
Wow.
And they were like a plus 1,100 underdog. So McNeese State knows what they are. And honestly, for a 15 seed, they might be a little scary. I know it doesn't happen very often, but a 15 beating a 2, never know when it can happen, but it always can.
Okay. I hear you. I'm taking notes. Keep that one in my back pocket. Big Sky.
Big Sky. Now the thing about the Big Sky, let me get up there. So the Big Sky, the problem with the Big Sky is there's no notable name in here. Weber State has been a complete disappointment to finish the season. Honestly, these teams have gone back and forth beating each other up to finish the season. Eastern Washington is your favorite. They are probably going to have a lot of value. I wouldn't rely on Northern Colorado. They have been very hit or miss all season. If you do need someone to try to maybe win something off of, you might go Montana. But for the most part, I don't know much about this conference. I do know a little bit about Eastern Washington. Been on them a few times.
Yeah.
They don't like to cover spreads, but it is what it is.
You heard the man. It is what it is. Moving on. Who do we got? The Patriot League. Nice.
Yeah, as soon as we get out of these smaller leagues, we'll leave the big leagues out for the next time. You know your Big Five, maybe some other ones like the A10. We'll get into those another time. But for right now, the Patriot League. Again, this is one of those conferences where no one stands out above anyone else at the top. Maybe you go Boston University because they won 5 in a row. Maybe you go Bucknell because you've heard of Bucknell and you know Bucknell to make NCAA tournament and make noise in the NCAA tournament. Honestly, whoever comes out of this tournament is going in there as a 16 seed, and they're doing a play-in game at the 16 seed. So I would just stay away from this conference. There is no telling what will happen. And honestly, it might not even matter what happens.
All right, fair enough. Should we leave off at the Patriot League or should we knock out a few more? What do you think?
I think give me over to up until the South. We'll go up until the South Atlantic Conference, or South LA Athletic Conference.
The Southwest. Okay, so 2 more: American East and Mid-Eastern. American East. Here we go.
So this one's very cut and dry. You got 2 teams to bet on. You got Vermont Catamounts, and you got UMass. I'm not going to stray away from Vermont now. I don't know how I could. Vermont's been hot almost all season. They won. I forget what tournament it was to start the season, but they beat some teams. They beat the College of Charleston, so they handed the College of Charleston one of their 4 losses. So yeah, give me Vermont. Vermont is a scary team. It's one of those not rare teams, but one of those almost what is the best word to put it? Strictly technical 3-point shooting white boy teams. So
yeah, gotta love those teams. Last up for tonight, at least we'll cover them next episode, guys. Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, playing in Norfolk.
I think that is because, let me look over here. Yes, because Norfolk State is the top team in the conference. Honestly, that's all you really need to know. Norfolk State will be one of those teams that will probably win this tournament, and you'll see them in the round of 68 facing another 16 team. You might be seeing them face Colgate. They could very well be going against Colgate in the round of 68 to see who gets to move on. It's unfortunate that's how it is, but that's just how it is. I think we got one more in us because I think we can. At that point, we can leave off at the Mountain West. I don't want to leave off anyone on the Norfolk State kind of a run. That's a little disappointing.
Southwestern Conference.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and knock them out.
We'll leave it here at the Big Ten. We'll hit the big boys next time because those are the big conferences. They're not even going to start by the next time we start talking about this. So we got here. We got the SWAC.
The SWAC.
And in the SWAC conference, you got like. I knew I was going to talk about this team. That's all I was going to talk about this team. So I've been betting on them of recent. At first, they didn't have value, and now they're losing their value. At first, they had a lot of value, and now they're losing that value. But Alcorn State is on a 7-game win streak. They're 12-17. They played a lot of tough opponents at the beginning of the season. They got their butts kicked a lot. But, that's how you grow and that's how you build a team, is getting whacked by big, strong teams who you are completely outmatched by. I'm not impressed by Grambling, and I'm not impressed by Southern University. I'm more impressed by Alcorn because of who they played to begin the season with. So I'm going to take Alcorn State coming out of that third seed slot.
All right, fair enough. I think we just ran through most of the mid-majors. I think we still have a few like the A10 to talk about, but like we said, we'll go through those next time. Yeah, see, we still got some of the bigger conferences to go through. So, yes, looks like some of these don't start until March 13th. So we got plenty of time before we need to talk about them. So it's all good stuff. Hello there, and welcome to the MTL Sports Podcast. Thank you for watching this video clip of one of our most recent episodes. Please drop a like, drop a comment in the comment section below, and also please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with the most recent MTL Sports Podcast content. For those that don't know, we are also available on Spotify for those who listen audio only. Once again, thank you so much, and this is the MTL Sports Podcast. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here.